Hi, I'm attorney Gordon Johnson and welcome to carbonmonoxidepoisoning.com. I have some demonstrative tools, I like to call them my toys for trial, in my hands because I want to demonstrate some things to you about carbon monoxide and how it's formed and how it damages human tissue to help you understand the things on our page. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a simple example of a flame. Right now, I'm burning carbon through this cigarette lighter, simple flame. I think everybody understands the basic principles of combustion. You take carbon, you oxidize it, you combine it with oxygen, you create heat, and you burn fuel. When you do that, you are creating heat and you're creating carbon dioxide. What's burning, and I have in my hand a carbon dioxide molecule. Obviously this is a model of it, but it's a model of a carbon dioxide molecule, which is the byproduct of the oxidation when you burn. You start with carbon, which is, we're making the carbon green, like we would in our concept of green energy. The carbon is green, and we have two oxygen atoms. The oxygen is being pulled from the air, combining with the carbon, creating energy, and the leftover is CO2. One carbon, two oxygen. Now, in order for that flame to burn properly, there have to be enough oxygen in the air in order for this molecule to be formed. But if there is not enough oxygen in the air, what happens, instead of having this molecule, two oxygen, one carbon, is that you get this molecule, which is called carbon monoxide. Dioxide for two, monoxide for one. What happens that create carbon monoxide is that the combustion is occurring someplace unlike this room where it was simple for me to start the cigarette lighter. It occurs in a place where there's a limited amount of oxygen. For an example of limited amount of oxygen is an internal combustion engine. The pistons create little explosions. Not all of the carbon atoms get to be completely bonded with the carbon dioxide, and they make carbon monoxide. Another place, and more relevant for many of the accidents we see in our work with carbon monoxide, is places like heaters, pool heaters, hot water heaters, where the appliance that's burning the carbon, burning the fuel, burning the gas, usually natural gas, is burning inside of a confined area. It's like a house, like a furnace room. In hotels, it's usually a locked, sealed boiler room or a pool room. In those places, the carbon monoxide occurs because there's not enough oxygen flowing into the flame. When we lit our cigarette lighter, there was plenty of oxygen. But in these confined areas like pool heater areas, like boiler rooms and hotels, the carbon monoxide forms because there's not enough flow of oxygen into the room. When there's not enough flow of oxygen into the room, something called negative pressure is created. And that's what happens when you have carbon, the formation of carbon monoxide versus carbon dioxide. Now, the reason that is a toxic situation, the reason it becomes poisonous to the body, is that where the body knows what to do with carbon dioxide, it's something, in fact, we breathe out carbon dioxide because we have a little fire going on in every cell when our cell burns the fuel that makes the body run. And what the body needs is oxygen combined with carbon, which is the byproduct of our food, and should be creating carbon dioxide. But when the body breathes in carbon monoxide, instead of being the carbon dioxide it knows it doesn't need, it thinks it's oxygen. It just thinks it's this one oxygen molecule. Actually, it's O2. There's going to be two oxygens. And it confuses this molecule for one that would have two oxygen molecules. And then that carbon monoxide bonds into the blood, creating carboxyhemoglobin, which replaces oxygen. So when the blood gets to the cell, instead of having oxygen, which it can mix with the carbon and make carbon dioxide, it has only carbon monoxide, which it cannot use, and creates a toxic condition and basically asphyxiates the cell. Thus, when people are carbon monoxide poisoned, they die or they're damaged by asphyxiation, essentially not getting oxygen to the cell because the carbon monoxide has fused with the hemoglobin in the blood instead of oxygen.